Hey there, YouTube and Wooper Club fans. It's me, Michael, aka Fruit Taco, aka the coach of the Route 1 Burbs. It's week 6 of WCL Season 15 here, and I'm here to show you the battle between the Summit County Psyducks and the Boulder Boldores. Both of these teams would love to add some wins to their season as we start looking towards the playoffs, especially the Boldores, who have played well but had an absolutely brutal schedule in the first half of the season, just going up against monster of a team after monster of a team. Who will take the W today and make it one step closer to playoffs? Let's jump into it and find out. The Psyducks have Roaring Moon, Terra Captain Volcarona, Braviary, Terra Captain Scovillain, Decidueye, Magneton, Weezing, Hisuian Goodra, Wigglytuff, Hatterene, and Torkoal going up against the Boldores, who have Meowscarada, Terra Captain Grafaiai, Terra Captain Thundurus Therian, Mew, Oricorio, all of the forms, Qwilfish, Hisui, Quaquaval, Misdreavus, Heatran, Hatcham, and Araquanid. Taking a look, as always, first at the speed comparisons between the teams, well, it's not quite as straightforward as you think it would be. The Boldores certainly have 6 of the 8 fastest Mons, giving them the apparent advantage, but Chlorophyll and Photosynthesis, as well as potential Trick Room, give the Psyducks a lot to work with here. Sticky Webs, I do think, keep the Boldores in control in terms of speed, but do expect to potentially see a lot of tricks out from both sides in terms of speed and priority. For the Psyducks, looking at their matchup into the Boldores, well, the Boldores are weak to Electric, Flying, and Rock, with Dragon and Normal being solid neutral options into them. I think Roaring Moon looks absolutely incredible. Heatran is the only Dragon resist. You'd think Hatcham would have the Fairy typing, but it doesn't get it until it evolves into Hatterene, just a Psychic type right now. So with Dragon only having one resist, a Choice Scarf or Choice Band with stuff like U-Turn, Dragon Claw, and Earthquake, I think looks really great. Or, of course, you can go Dragon Dance and then absolutely destroy things in the sun with either an additional Photosynthesis boost to speed or attack. Goodra could also be a nice wall here, with Dragon spamming offensive potential, just needing to watch out for Quaquaval and maybe a couple coverage moves, but certainly having the bulk to hit back. Volcarona and Scovillain I think could also be good, but Flashfire Heatran really bothers both of them without Terra, so I definitely expect the Dragon types to be the focus offensively for the Psyducks, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the Fire types bringing up the rear. Looking at the Boldores matchup, well, the Psyducks are weak to Flying and Rock, while Dragon and Fire are solid neutral choices into them. Like I said, I think Heatran has to come to all the Fire types, but definitely needs to be careful of Terra and coverage options from a variety of Mons. Meowscarada I think looks really nice, maybe with a Choice Scarf to maintain the speed advantage, with coverage options like Low Kick and U-Turn hitting the Roaring Moon very hard, as well as Low Kick doing a big chunk to that Hisuian Goodra. Quaquaval will falter in the sun with weakened Aqua Step, but Moxie Sweeps are always a possibility, as is something like Terra Thundurus setting up an agility and trying to make something happen. I think it'll be interesting to see which support options the Boldores bring, with stuff like Araquanid Webs helping keep speeds in check, and Qwilfish being a decent Roaring Moon switch-in. Overall, well, in my opinion, it looks like a pretty close match, with the outcome likely coming down to weather management. If the sun stays up, I think the Roaring Moon offense looks really good. Make it through that sun, or even potentially counter the weather, though, and I think the Boldores look strong into what might be a pretty centralized offense. Ultimately, my call will be a Psyducks victory. Is that because I lost to them, and them doing well makes me look better? I don't know what you're talking about. So let's just look at what the coaches are bringing already. Starting it off with the Psyducks, we're going to look at Braviary here. Max attack and speed. Jolly Nature with a Choice Scarf is going to outspeed Scarfed Heatran as well as anything without a Scarf. Defiant could get an activation from Qwilfish's Intimidate. Brave Bird Stab with close combat coverage, U-Turn pivoting, and a cheeky Scarfed Defog to clear rocks. This is a pretty cool set. Brave Bird only has 2 resists, Heatran, who is weak to close combat, and Thundurus, who still takes almost 50% from Brave Bird. Defog is an interesting choice. Of course, keeping hazards off the field is great, but you have boots on the Volcarona that we'll see later, so do you really want to take 25% on one of your big offensive pieces and lock yourself into Defog? Possibly. If Qwilfish stacks up some spikes, it could be dangerous and worth removing, but I do think Return or Facade also would have been great choices for that move slot. Next up is Roaring Moon. Max speed Jolly with as much attack as possible to still get the photosynthesis speed boost, and a booster energy to still get that boost outside of Sun. Dragon Dance setup with Acrobatics, Earthquake, and Knock Off as the offensive moves. This set definitely surprises me a little bit. Acrobatics is fine, it's good against Quaquaval and Araquanid, who both could be potentially decently bulky. Earthquake covers Quillfish switching in, and Knockoff is strong into Mew and Mischievous. Definitely a case of wanting more moves than you can bring here, but no U-turn or Dragon move definitely surprises me. The more I look at it, the more I understand it, though. Dragon is really spammable with the only one resist in the Heatran, but actually, Acrobatics and Earthquake hit every Dark resist super effectively, so you still end up with a really spammable offensive set. I still might have gone Dragon Claw, Earthquake, and U-turn, but I am a fan of this set, and I do think it'll do really well. Next up is Torkoal. Max HP, near max special defense with a little bit of physical defense investment. And then, of course, Heat Rock extending that Drought Sun. Lava Plume Stab, body press coverage with rocks and spin serving as the Psyducks hazard game here. This is a pretty standard looking set. The special defense investment makes me think this might be used as a Heatran switch-in, but you still take over 50% from offensive Earth Power, so it's definitely not a perfect answer. Overall, though, this is going to do normal Torkoal things. It's going to set Sun, it's going to take some hits, and it's going to get some chip damage back. So, I think pretty solid baseline, it'll be fine. Next up is the Goodra. Max HP mixed defensive investment, but ultimately it'll end up more on the specially defensive side with leftovers and Sap Sipper to absorb grass moves like Meowscarada's Flower Trick. Draco Meteor and Flash Cannon stab options with Earthquake coverage and Dragon Tail to phase out opposing setup. This is a nice mixed defensive set. The physical defense lets you always live Jolly Close Combat from Quaquaval as well as Low Kick from Meowscarada, while hitting back for 70% or more with Draco Meteor. Meanwhile, Specs Modest Thunderbolt from Thundurus does 26% to you max. I think this is a pretty cool set for sure, but I do think the ability and item have other potential options. Sap Sipper would normally be great against Meowscarada, but every single member of this team resists grass, so I don't know, do you really need it? Are there really going to be that many grass moves being thrown out? Gooey could have been a cool tech to slow down the likes of Meowscarada or Quaquaval, setting up for something else to KO them. Likewise, the leftovers are solid, but with this moveset, I think you definitely also consider Assault Vest. You already take special hits very well, though, so the balance between Lefty's recovery and the ability to maybe shift around some EVs with the Assault Vest giving you even more special defense is a bit of a toss-up. Overall, I do think this is a really good set, though. Next is Volcarona. Lots of speed with a timid nature and max defensive investment combined with some investment into HP. Heavy-duty boots, of course, protect it from stealth rocks, and Flame Body will let it potentially leave physical attackers with a burn. Flamethrower and Terra Electric Terra Blast with Quiver Dance and Morning Sun for boosting and recovery. This is a really cool set. Morning Sun heals 75% in the sun, so with the defensive investment and special defense boosts from Quiver Dance, this could be a huge pain to take down in Sun, and it really could get several Quiver Dances off with all of that bulk. The choice of Terra type I think is pretty interesting. The fire resists are Oricorio Bile, Quaquaval, and Heatran, as well as Water Bubble Araquanid. Terra Electric hits 3 of those Pokemon super effectively while hitting the Heatran neutrally. That's some really nice utility from the Terra while minimizing your weaknesses at the same time. With no special attack investment, I think this set really needs at least 2 Quiver Dances to really get going, but I do think that's very possible, and I'm excited to see if this bulky set works out. And bringing up the rear is Magneton, max special attack and speed, timid with Eviolite for some extra bulk, and Terra Flying to potentially dodge a ground move. Thunderbolt and Flash Cannon Stab with Volt Switch and Tri Attack. In my opinion, this set is kind of torn in 2 directions. With Meowscarada and Thundurus being the only electric resists, this could actually be a decently potent offensive piece. However, the Analytic ability and Eviolite makes me think of more of a bulky offense set. I think if I'm going with this max speed set, I go with something like Choice Scarf or Choice Specs, or if I'm going Eviolite and to make use of Analytic more, I drop the speed investment for some additional bulk. Heavy-duty boots and sturdy would also make this a hard stop to a Quaquaval sweep. This set kind of hinges its bets with Eviolite for some bulk, but enough speed to outspeed Modest Heatran and bulky Quaquaval. It's tough to say how much work this Pokemon will do, but it's definitely got some potential, and I hope it works out for the Psyducks here. Overall, there are a lot of interesting choices on this team, and I think I'm pretty impressed with it. There's a nice balance of offense and defense here, but I do think it needs to find some room to get some boosts on Volcarona and Roaring Moon, or pick up a surprise KO with that Scarfed Braviary early to really get rolling. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out in the battle, though. So with that out of the way, let's move on to the Boldores and see how they compare to what the Psyducks are bringing. We're going to start things off with Meowscarada running max speed, max special attack, timid nature with a choice scarf, and of course Protean's going to be boosting the power of Power Gem, Low Kick, Sucker Punch, and U-Turn. Well, I'm not surprised by the scarf, as it lets you outspeed even Chlorophyll, Scovillain, and Sun. The mixed attacking is definitely catching me off guard, though. Power Gem hits Volcarona, Scovillain, Braviary, and Torkoal, so I definitely see the appeal. You almost always OHKO max HP Volcarona and 2-shot offensive Braviary and physically defensive Torkoal. Meanwhile, Low Kick is a favorable roll to KO no-bulk Roaring Moon and does 70% minimum to specially defensive Hisuian Goodra. To go with that, though, I'd really like to see something like a hasty nature here to not lose out on any of that attack. I'm really excited, though, to see if Power Gem can put in the work, though, because specially attacking Meowscarada is something you have to think about, but definitely not something you see all that often. Next is Araquanid, with some mixed bulk ending up slightly more specially defensive. Water Bubble is an insane ability, having the damage you take from Fire-type moves, preventing yourself from being burned, and boosting the power of your own Water-type moves. And then we have Custap Berry, which could make for some very cool moments here. Liquidation and Leech Life Stab, with Rain Dance to counter the weather, and Endeavor as the last move. This is another cool set. Only Goodra resists both stabs, and Custap Berry actually provides so much value on this set. A Liquidation or Leech Life into a sweeping Volcarona or Roaring Moon, an Endeavor to instantly break a big wall, or even a last-minute Rain Dance to shut down the Psyducks plan. That Custap Berry could just give you so many potential options. I think this is just a really cool set. Sticky Webs would have been really nice to let Pokemon like Quaquaval and Thundurus get a jump on some faster Mons, but I think this set is really cool and hope it gets to shine. Next is Grafaiai. I'm not even going to try to pick apart this EV spread. It's got the speed to outspeed Modest Volcarona, though. Both Air Balloon and Terra Flying would let it dodge ground-type attacks, while Prankster speeds up Rain Dance and Encore with Low Kick and Knock Off to provide some offense and utility. This looks like a pretty useful set. Prankster Rain Dance is great at disrupting the Psyduck Sun, and Encore can be used to trap a Pokemon into a setup move or something similarly useless, although Roaring Moon will be immune to it unless it tears out of its Dark typing. Knock Off provides decent utility, and Low Kick does good damage to Roaring Moon, Magneton, and Goodra. While moves like Parting Shot and Super Fang would also have been good choices, I do like this set. For being a low-tier Mon, I think Grafaiai has a lot of nice utility in this matchup. The ability to shut down Sun and lock sweepers into setup moves is really big, as the Psyducks offense makes heavy use of those. I'll hold off on judging the sort of fast mixed bulk EV spread until I see it in action, but I do think this Pokemon could be very, very nice. Next is Heatran, a lot of HP and defense investment with a defense-boosting nature, and then a good amount into special attack as well, with Assault Vest and Flash Fire providing additional bulk and utility. Lava Plume and Flash Cannon stabs with Body Press and Earth Power coverage options. This is yet another really interesting set from the Boldores, with a kind of mixed bulk offensive Heatran. I expected to maybe see a Scarf, as the Psyducks only have 2 resists to sun-boosted fire moves, but with the Rain Dance support you're bringing, that probably wouldn't have worked out great here. I'm not sure how they exactly ended up at this set, though. The mixed bulk lets you barely live 2 of defensive Torkoal's Earth Powers or Body Presses, so maybe they're looking at that. You take other attacks pretty decently, but things like random earthquakes are still going to mess you up. An interesting set with some decently strong offensive options, but I'm not really sure what to expect from this Mon in the match. We'll just have to see what it can do. Next is Quaquaval, a lot of speed with a jolly nature to outspeed Braviary, and then the rest of the EVs are split between HP and attack. Protective Pads ignores Flame Body and any Rocky Helmets, nice to protect a sweep using that nice Moxie ability. Low Kick and Aqua Step are the primary stab options, with Aqua Jet priority and then Brave Bird to hit the Decidueye, who otherwise resists both stabs. This is just a great set. The protective pads are a fantastic to bring to keep something like a Flame Body burn from prematurely ending your sweep. Of course, the combination of Aqua Step speed boosts and Moxie attack boosts is very scary, while Low Kick OHKO's Roaring Moon and is a roll to KO max HP Hisui and Goodra, who both resist the water stab. The defense lets you live a no-item acrobatics from Jolly Roaring Moon. Making use of that defense is nice, but the lack of full attack investment could be missed against some of the neutral options. Because of that, I think this will need to come out later in the game when the Weather War has been won and just one Moxie boost can let you clean through a lot of weakened Pokemon, but it's certainly a very scary set. And last is that Thundurus Therian. Max HP and max defense Thundurus is very unexpected, but the boots at least are standard. Terra Fairy, Terra Blast, Sludge Bomb, U-Turn, and Thunder Wave is the moveset. Move over, Special Attacking Meowscarada. Defensive Thundurus is the new hot tech this week. Obviously, this is meant to take on Roaring Moon, using that Terra Fairy to resist both stabs, and then hit it with Terra Blast, Thunder Wave, or U-Turn. Even without Terra, though, this set takes 98% max from +2 Jolly Roaring Moon's knockoff, and could land a Thunder Wave or do a little over a third with U-Turn. I'm a little surprised to see U-Turn over Volt Switch, though, even if it does hit Roaring Moon super effectively, because while you take Braviary's Brave Bird, well, with this set, Sludge Bomb is the best you have to hit it back with. I think this is a really cool set, though, and I think it could very easily get to live a hit no one expected to and get off a big Heat Wave or solid attack, though. I do wish it had a little bit of an electric stab for that Braviary, though. Overall, boy oh boy were the Boldores in the kitchen this week. From intricate EVs all over the place to some really surprising and tricky sets, the Boldores are not messing around. I could definitely see them getting the upper hand with some of these surprises, and against a weather team, those little bits of momentum can really compound as you disrupt their plans. Let's find out if that's the case, though, and jump into the battle. And here the teams are at Team Preview. For the Psyducks, well, there's no Quillfish from the Boldores, meaning no Intimidate will make it easier for Roaring Moon to sweep, as well as mean there aren't going to be any pesky spikes lying about. But a lot of the rest of what the Boldores brought looks probably pretty expectable. For the Boldores, well, Decidueye, Weezing, and Hatterene are all missing and could have been bulky pieces Quaquaval would have needed to think about before trying to sweep, so that's pretty nice. Overall, I don't think either team brought anything all that surprising, so let's jump into the battle, and we're going to see, for the leads, Meowscarada and Braviary. Both coaches are going to lead with their Choice Scarf U-Turners. That makes a lot of sense. That is actually a big deal, though, as Meow is going to unknowingly reveal its Scarf, and the Psyducks are still going to get the switch priority with those U-Turns after seeing the bulk on Thundurus there. U-Turn is going to swap out that Thundurus for the Heatran, who's going to get swapped right back out into Thundurus by Dragon Tail. Thunder Wave is a nice little middle ground play here and pays off with the immediate paralysis. U-Turn out into Heatran again, but Dragon Tail is going to shuffle it out into Grafaiai this time. Low Kick is going to crit for over half, while Flash Cannon will break the balloon. Luckily, a low roll and Lefty is going to bring Goodra out of KO range. Grafaiai switching into Heatran, maybe expecting a Torkoal or Volcarona, but Braviary comes in. U-Turn brings out the Torkoal, who's going to take about a quarter here from the Sun-boosted Lava Plume. Earth Power is going to do just over half thanks to Torkoal's special defense investment, but Rocks will go up for the Psyducks. This was a pretty bold choice for the Psyducks. They let Torkoal get really low here, and while they do get Rocks up, which are nice for a Araquanid and Thundurus if it doesn't have boots, it's probably only going to be able to set the Sun one more time if it switches out now. I think preserving the Sunsetter to keep Quaquaval in check and boost Volcarona's healing would have been the better call, especially as I think this was a decent chance to get Roaring Moon in. If you do stay in, though, I think Body Press might be better, as getting damage off on Heatran will really open up Braviary if Thundurus tears out of its electric type. It was definitely possible that Heatran switches out here, fearing an Earth Power from the Torkoal, though, so maybe that's what the Psyducks were expecting. Turn 9 here, though, the Psyducks will decide to sacrifice Torkoal to get a safe switch into the Roaring Moon here. So that's a big deal for the Boldores, who, with that Torkoal gone, can set Rain and really let their water types go to town. Thundurus is going to switch in as Roaring Moon risks a potential Will-O-Wisp and Dragon Dances up. Goodra is going to switch in, scouting Thundurus' choices. The Terra Fairy Terra Blast will do little over its remaining health. Then we got the U-turn bringing out Grafai, but Goodra is going to be fairly parried and can't get any damage off on that switch. Braviary is going to switch in. Brick Grafai gets the rain up, making Quaquaval look really scary. U-turn again will reveal Braviary's Scarf, and Goodra comes in to take a knockoff. Goodra is going to finally go down to another low kick, not risking switching into a potential knockoff, and Roaring Moon will pop its booster energy as it hits the field. Acrobatics easily KOs Grafai, but Meowscarada is going to come out and will outspeed with the Scarf. Low kick, the Psyducks stay in, and the low kick actually OHKOs the Roaring Moon. Wow, that was pretty bold for the Psyducks just staying in there. First off, the Boldores did hit a 62% roll to get the one-shot there, but that's only because they have a minus attack nature. A standard physical Meowscarada easily OHKOs with low kick and does upward of 88% with U-turn, so I really don't know what the Psyducks plan was here. Maybe they expected to live a U-turn and get off their own U-turn for some momentum. Roaring Moon is in a rough spot, as the only thing it can try to get a Dragon Dance off on is Heatran, and it needs 2 speed boosts to outspeed Meowscarada with its Choice Scarf. Maybe they sacrificed it here, betting it all on Volcarona if Meowscarada does lock itself into a fighting move, though. Thundurus is going to switch in as one Quiver Dance goes up for that Volcarona. Terra Electric is going to mean that Quiver Dance goes up for free now that it's immune to the Thunder Wave. A low roll means Flamethrower isn't going to pick up the kill, and a clutch Sludge Bomb crit will do a little under half. Personally, I think the Psyducks got a little greedy there, or not greedy, a little impatient, as I would have gone for another Quiver Dance just to make sure I can one-shot everything left, including potentially specially defensive Araquanid and Heatran. The Boldores got lucky with a crit, but I think they might have needed to swap into Heatran to threaten Earth powers ASAP. Well, anyway, here on turn 21, we're going to see that the Psyducks do get their third Quiver Dance up, as Sludge Bomb is going to get a little more chip but no poison. This time, Flamethrower definitely gets the KO, though, bringing in Araquanid. But again, I think I'd have been a little more patient and gone for a Morning Sun while I'm against a very non-threatening Thundurus. Make sure I get a little bit of that HP up, just in case something happens for the rest of this match. Terra Blast is going to KO Araquanid, though, and it definitely looks like it could be all over. Meowscarada is going to come out, and a mid-roll Sucker Punch will bring Volcarona low, but that will be another Mon down for the Boldores. Quaquaval out now, and a mid-roll Aqua Jet will actually bring it down to 2 Mons left on each side, and Magneton is going to come out to see that boost to Quaquaval. Aqua Step does about half, but the max special attack Thunderbolt will easily KO Quaquaval here. Heatran, the last Mon out now. Thunderbolt is going to get some decent chip as Heatran does take down the Magneton with that Lava Plume. Close combat does a minimum of 50% though, and it will be enough to take down the Heatran, securing the Psyducks a win after what turned out to be a very close battle in the end after that insane positioning war to start. At the end, the Boldores definitely had some tough reads to make regarding that Magneton. +1 low kick was actually a 75% chance to OHKO Magneton there, and then Braviary would have had to lock itself into Brave Bird, which would let Heatran beat it in the end. That's only an offensive analytic Magneton, though. There's a good chance it has Sturdy, in which case you need to break it with Aqua Step, and a defensive set with Sturdy and no special attack investment actually is only about a 37% chance to KO with Thunderbolt that turn. Nothing was a guarantee for the Boldores there by any means, and they just kind of had to pick their poison with how to approach that Magneton. Unfortunately for them, they chose wrong though, and the Psyducks are going to squeak by with a narrow victory. One Morning Sun definitely could have kept that Volcarona from being KO'd though, so the Psyducks probably should have been able to clean this up a little easier than they did. A great idea of bringing double priority gave the Boldores a real chance there at the end though, and gave us a really exciting end to a very fun battle. Great job definitely to both of the coaches. That'll be it from me this week, though. Thank you for watching, and remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any coverage as we enter the exciting final weeks of the regular season, and I'll see you then.